What's up, everyone? It is Thursday. This is more than a first look video. This is more of my second and third look video. I've run different combinations, and this is what I've come up with. So it's not my final look, but it's not quite the first look. That would have been done on like Monday. Anyways, let's roll with this here. Again, if you don't want to lose sleep the night before the games, go with Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Even Dak Prescott, even though he lost Gallup, looks good. But for double ups and cash games, we want to stick to this 5,000 to 6,000 range. And my philosophy is it doesn't matter who you go with. Anyone can do well. As long as they don't get injured in the first quarter, I think it'll be fine. Originally, I thought, what about Kirk Cousins? But more and more than I think about it, Kirk Cousins is a perfect GPP play this week. You pair him up with Thielen and or Diggs and or Dalvin Cook, and you might have a team. It's probably like an 18% chance that he'll do well paired up with Thielen. But if you think about it, no one's going to be on Cousins this week. He's been terrible. He only threw 10 passes the first game. In week 2, he was 14 out of 32. Pretty abysmal. But he's at home. He's going up against the Raiders. And I say there's an 18% chance that he'll succeed because they're against the Raiders. They literally could just run the ball 50 times a game and win. He might only have 10 passes. So this is why we're not putting him into our cash lineups. Brissett might be a great pick. They might be down all game. But I think the guy to go with right now is Stafford. Yeah, he didn't have the great game home against the Chargers, but even though I like to pick a quarterback that's at home, usually, the Eagles' pass defense is picking up where they left off of last season, and they are terrible. They are absolutely terrible. Last season, like they had 5 or 6 cornerbacks that were hurt. They're healthy now, but they're just as bad as the cornerbacks that they picked up off the street last year. So right now, I mean, I've no doubt that the Eagles will shore up their defense at some point, but Stafford has got a lot of pass catching options around him. And there's no reason why Detroit can't put up 3 or 4 touchdowns. I think they'll get into the 30s. It'll be a huge, high-scoring game. Okay, so for running backs, we're going to go to our strategy of picking the best ones and the pricier ones. I think first, you hit the cash game play every week until otherwise will be Eckler. He runs, he catches, he scores touchdowns. This is the play everyone's going to play. You have to have him to cash every week. This is basically the new Todd Gurley. I'm not saying he was as good, that he is as good as Todd Gurley was in the last couple of years, but out of everyone, well, this is actually like your Melvin Gordon play too. Not that he's on the same team as Melvin Gordon, but he runs, catches, and scores touchdowns. Okay, next, I think less people will be on McCaffrey because they'll see the Arizona's third against opposing running backs, which is weird because, like last season, they gave up a ton of yards on the ground and they gave up a ton of yards through the air. Cam Newton isn't Cam Newton yet. He doesn't have to be. McCaffrey's going to have a type of game he had against the Rams in week 1, 40-plus points. Will he be 50% owned? I think he'll be in the 20s in cash up, in double ups in cash. I think he'll be lesser owned because people will kind of see he had a terrible game on Thursday Night Football against the Buccaneers and in Arizona, and they're third against opposing running backs, which I'm not sure what that means because they gave up a lot of running yards and they give a lot of receiving yards. Maybe that means they don't give up as many receiving yards to running backs, but no one is like McCaffrey. He's got a very special skill set, and I'll be playing him. Third, I know this actually helps. Matt LaFleur says he's going to even up the carries between Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. That will, I mean, before that, 80% of people were going to play Aaron Jones. And now it might be in the 20s, which will help our double ups. The Broncos are usually pretty bad against the run. They're great at rushing the quarterback, but they're great at defending the pass, but they're bad against the run. Okay, so let's move on. So because we spent up at running backs, we're going to spend down at receiver. And in all honesty, I'm not thrilled with all the receivers that are high priced. Maybe Julio Jones, but the Colts have a really good secondary. Maybe Antonio Brown, but the Patriots are like the Rams, where you don't know who's going to have a great game each and every week. Keenan Allen was kind of a disappointment last week. I would go back to him if I had the money, especially against this Texans secondary, but maybe in a GPP if he's playing. And like I said, Thielen in a GPP, it's going to be a great play. I would love to pair up Galladay with Stafford, but I just don't have the money to do that. But I like Galladay in GPP. And let's go down. I like Godwin. I didn't see Godwin, but I like him in GPP as well too. Okay, so I've stayed away from Larry the last 2 weeks. He has surprised me. I'm just gonna run this train for as long as I can. Yes, the Panthers have a really good number one cornerback in Bradbury, but the question is, who is actually going to be covering Fitzgerald? He's a slot receiver. Will they put Bradbury man-to-man on him? Or I have a feeling that Bradbury is going to be on Christian Kirk to shut him down. And usually, last year, in the past 2 weeks, the second or third receiver, usually the slot receiver, has a good game against the Panthers. Yes, in Arizona, I think let's just see the targets. I think Fitzgerald's gonna have 10 targets, but he's probably had more than that every game. He's had 13 and 11 targets, and in cash games, the most important thing is volume. If they're gonna keep throwing him the ball, he doesn't have to be open. He will catch everything. I'm just gonna ride the Larry Fitzgerald train for as long as he's in there and performing. Okay, so I don't like to play rookies, but I think Deebo Samuel, he's a guy who can score 2 points or 20 points. You don't know, but I think Garoppolo is starting to get him the ball a little bit more, and this is more of a matchup play. Like, he had 3 and 7 targets, not that great, but the Steelers are just terrible against the pass so far this year. And I think he'll have a lot more chances without Big Ben manning the ship for the Steelers offense. So I think the 49ers will have the ball more. More plays means more production. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he had 2 points, but I would be grateful if he had over 12. 12 and over. All right. My last play receiver, I'm blanking out who this is going to be right now. 1 second. It's in the 5,000 range. Sorry, let me see who it is. Oh, okay, yeah. So, like Larry Fitzgerald, I'm shocked that Emmanuel Sanders has come back. And look at this, 7 and 13 targets. The 13 targets against the Bears defense. If he can do that against the Bears defense, I know he was playing at home, but he's not going to face a better defense than the Bears. I know the Packers have had a great defense in the first 2 weeks, but something's got to give. I don't think he's going to be highly owned, and I think the Packers will stop the run, even though they're 19th against the run. But, I mean, the Broncos they've been playing from behind the first 2 weeks. Flacco likes to throw the ball 40 times a game. This is why Sanders has been going off, and he's the slot receiver. And if you don't know by now, I love slot receivers. So, Where's someone going for him? Whoops. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through defense. I apologize last week. I didn't want to go through defense. Not because I was withholding anything. I just don't think it's that important. And I don't want us all to have the same combination going into cash games and GPP because I throw this team into the GPP as well. And last week I had the Patriots defense, and this is the first time I had a defense that went off. So, tight end. If you want a cheap tight end, I think that people might skip over Greg Olsen. I had him in my first look lineup. I will still love him. I'm going to play him on a GPP team or two. But I'm going to continue this pattern with receivers, sticking with the hot hand. I didn't play Andrews last week because of the questionable tag. He's fine. He's on the injury list report because he's a little bit banged up, but not too banged up to play. They're going up against another terrible pass defense here. And this is Lamar Jackson's favorite target. And this will either be a close game or the Chiefs being up. I don't think the Ravens are going to be up the whole game and just run the ball. Wouldn't that be something? But I think Ingram is questionable, so he's banged up. So Lamar Jackson, I'm not saying he's going to throw it 50 times a game, but even if he threw 28 to 32 times a game, Mark Andrews is going to get his 8 targets. I'm not saying he's going to score another touchdown, but if he catches 6 passes for 70 yards and has 13 points, that's still a great play. But he's got a high ceiling now with the progression of a Lamar. So, anyways, this is it. It's my second and third look lineup. And thank you so much for watching, for subscribing. Hit that like button and let me know in the comments below who you're playing, who you like and who you don't like. All right. Expect my final look video probably Saturday night, maybe early Sunday morning. Who knows? But anyways, I will catch you on the next one. Later, guys.